Hello friends, welcome to my channel ELS English Literature Studies with Kaur Harpreet. Today I will discuss some literary terms. Actually I have started a series. Let us revise, and this is part 3. If you are interested, you can also check part 1 and part 2, right? And today I will discuss these literary terms. Actually every aspect of life has its own vocabulary, right? As an English student, there are some essential items or not items, sorry, terms which are required to understand, right? And knowing these literary terms and their meanings will greatly enhance your learning opportunities and also enhance your understanding of English literature. Hopefully you already know most of these, but there is a definite list of what you need to know in order to understand in better way, right? And before starting, let me clear one thing, that these terms are already discussed in detail with explanation in my different videos. Today I compile them in one video. I hope you will appreciate my effort, and today we will just do a sort of revision, right? This is revision part 3, and so let's get started with new interesting topic, that is about literary terms. First of all, first term is poetry. Poetry is a literary work which it is a literary work which expresses feelings and ideas, in which feelings and ideas are given with intensity by the use of distinctive style and rhythm, right? It is a type of literature, or we can say it is an artistic writing. It attempts to stir imagination of a reader. It also stirred, we can say, the emotion of a reader, right? And I've already discussed poetry with all its forms in detail under a series, what is poetry and what are different kinds of poetry. So actually I've already told that all these terms are discussed by me in videos, but today I will discuss in brief in one video, right? Second is fiction. When we talk about fiction, literature in the form of prose, especially novels, and that describes imaginary events and people. Fiction means imaginary, that describes imaginary events and people. Then drama, a play for theatre, radio or TV. Then epic is a long poem. This is already discussed in detail under series what is poetry and what are the different forms of poetry. Epic is a long poem, typically one derived from ancient oral tradition, right, narrating the deeds and adventures of heroic or legendary figures or the past history of a nation. And friends, let me repeat my words, that if you want to know more about these terms, whatever I'm going to discuss today, you can subscribe my channel, and you have to be regular on my channel, so it will be easy for you, right? Second slide is about next term, that is ballad. Ballad is a poem or song narrating a story in short stanzas, right? And traditional ballads have been passed on orally from one generation to the next. Next is ode. What is an ode? A lyric poem, typically one in the form of an address. It is in the form of an address to a particular subject, written in varied or irregular meter. Seventh term I'm going to discuss is novel. What is a novel? A fictitious prose narrative of book length, typically representing character and action with some degree of realism, right? There is a fiction. In fiction we have imaginary events and people, and in novel we have character and action with some degree of realism. It has considerable length and a certain complexity. I'm talking about novel, that it has a complexity that deals imaginatively with human experience, right? It has a, we can say, it also has a connected sequence of events involving a group of persons in a specific setting with an extensive range of types and styles. For example, we have picaresque novel, then epistolary novel, Gothic novel, romantic novel, realistic novel, historical novel, and all these types are discussed by me already on my channel. If you're interested, you can check those videos. And next is folktale. Now, what is a folktale? A story originating in popular culture, typically passed on by word of mouth. Ninth term is irony, the expression of one's meaning by using language that normally signifies the opposite. What is irony? right? The expression of one's meaning by using language that normally signifies the opposite, typically for humorous or emphatic effect. Now, what is metaphor? A figure of speech in which a word or phrase is applied to an object or action to which it is not literally applicable. Metaphor is discussed by me many times, and so I think that this explanation is enough to understand what is metaphor. A figure of speech in which a word or phrase is applied to an object or action to which it is not literally applicable, right? Next is chronological. I have chronological series also, chronology of English literature, that is also available on my channel. Now, what is chronological? Chronological means following the order in which they occurred, right? Following the dates or following the order in which they occurred. What is a dialogue? Very easy to know, but sometimes it is necessary for us to revise what we know, right? What is a dialogue? A conversation between two or more people as a feature of a book, play, or film. Now, what is stanza? A group of lines forming the basic recurring metrical unit in a poem. Recurring metrical unit in a poem, a verse, right? Then simile. Metaphor is discussed by me many times. Simile is discussed by me many times. Now, what is a simile? A figure of speech involving the comparison of one thing with another thing of a different kind. And in those videos, I've discussed metaphor and simile with examples. I have to find out the link, and if it will be possible, I will definitely give you a link in which video I've discussed metaphor and simile in detail and with examples, right? Now, next is rhythm. What is rhythm? Rhythm is the measured flow of words and phrases in verse or prose. Blank verse. Again discussed many times by me on my channel. What is blank verse? It is the meter most frequently used by Shakespeare. It consists of an unrhymed iambic pentameter. What is iambic pentameter? That is also discussed in detail in that video. I would try to give you link, right? Then imagery. What is imagery? Visually descriptive or figurative language, especially in literary work. Irony here is the repetition. Then hyperbole, exaggerated statements or claims not meant to taken literally, that is hyperbole. Genre. What is genre? A style or category of art, music, or literature, right? What is fantasy? A genre of imaginative fiction involving magic and adventure, especially in a setting other than the real world. Fantasy world. Sometimes we talk in our very common language that he lives in a fantasy world, right? What is fantasy world? A genre of imaginative fiction involving magic and adventure, especially in a setting other than the real world. Now, what is refrain? A repeated line, phrase, or group of lines which recurs at regular intervals through a poem or song, usually at the end of a stanza. The less technical term is chorus, right? That is also discussed by me. Then ode. What is ode? A lyric poem written in varied or irregular meter. And if you want to know more about this, then please watch my series, What is Poetry, right? Then oxymoron, a figure of speech in which apparently contradictory terms appear in conjunction, right? Personification. This personification, the attribution of a personal nature or human characteristic to something non-human, or the representation of an abstract quality in human form, that is known as personification. What is plot? Plot. The main events of a play, novel, film, or similar work devised and presented by the writer as an interrelated sequence. What is plot? That the work which is devised and presented by the writer as an interrelated sequence, that is through plot. And plot is very important when we go through literature, that it is very important in any sort of work. Then caesura. What is caesura? A pause or breathing place between about the middle of a metrical line, generally indicated by a pause in the sense, right? Next is couplet. Couplet, a rhymed pair of lines which are usually of the same length. If these are iambic pentameters, it is termed as heroic couplet. Heroic couplet is already discussed, and this form was made popular by Chaucer's Canterbury Tales and became the dominant dominant poetic form in the later part of the 17th century. This term is discussed by me in detail with full-fledged explanation, and I will definitely try to give you link of that video, which is related to what is couplet, what is Hebrew couplet, what is iambic pentameter, right? Then next, so there's no next. So this is all about, I thought I have 30 terms to discuss, but there are only 27. So I hope you will like the content, and if you like it, please hit the like button, share and subscribe my channel. And if you're new to my channel, please hit the bell button so that you can get notifications for my upcoming videos. Thanks a lot for watching.